Leslie Cornwell, certified nurse midwife with Midwifery Business Consultation. I have Edith Eze here with me, a certified nurse midwife from Nigeria. We were talking a little bit before the recording started with a wealth of knowledge. I was trying to remember, I looked up online. How many years have you been practicing, Edith?
Practicing from United States will be from 2002, which is almost 20 years, which is like 18 years or so.
Okay, yeah. Perfect. And then how long in Nigeria were you practicing?
I first graduated my the basic nursing 75 and then midwifery 81. Yeah, I don't know if you were born.
I wasn't even born yet, Edith. You have so much knowledge that I wasn't even around when you started your journey. So
we're the aging ones.
Yes, yes. So Edith, thank you so much for joining me today. I usually start out our conversations with going with your midwifery journey. Obviously, you're going to have a lot longer story than someone that just graduated, but take your time. Tell us about how you became a midwife.
Excellent. I will start from my country, Nigeria. Nigeria, I did basic nursing, which is encouraged. After the nursing, basic nursing, we had diploma in nursing. We actually did 3 years nursing. And it's like automatically you want to be a midwife because delivery of babies is it's always in the hands of nurses, nurse midwives. Okay. So I got my Nigerian registered nurse certificate, and a year later, not shortly before I went into midwifery, and I graduated midwifery as Nigerian registered midwife. And I was posted to a remote area, and within the course of our midwifery, you will do community midwifery. That means you will be posted to the community right in the remote areas where actually there's not much even hospital.
Yeah, you got to be very good at what you're doing when you're that kind of midwife.
So there you deliver babies in the houses. You are on call. We're on call as students. Whenever somebody ran in and said, oh, somebody's in labor, then we go over and we deliver her. And that hoping there's no complications. Yeah. If there's any complication, usually we'll call for her to go to the hospital. So this is like a community midwifery we did within the training of midwifery. And then after the midwifery training, when you get your certificate, then you're posted to hospitals or community centers or maternity units. In fact, I had to back a little bit my main passion, the reason why I became a midwife. My mother was a midwife. Yes, my mother was a midwife, and my mother was delivering babies around me because she has a little maternity unit where people who are pregnant will bring the pregnant, when they're in labor, they will land in her hands, and she will deliver them. And I always remember the lantern lamp, which she would say, "Get me the lamp." And I'm the last born of my mother. my mother had, believe it or not, 10 children. And I'm the last of the 10 children. And one important thing about this, the line, my mother's birth, is that she delivered 2 of her children by herself. Because she was a midwife, she knew what to do. And I actually one day asked her, did you deliver me by yourself? She said, no. By the time I got to you, I was getting nervous and worried that I would get into trouble. Okay. So she delivered me in one of the hospitals. Okay. So I grew up seeing mothers come in pain, in labor, and then leaving with the babies crying in their hands. So I developed that passion. for
Well,
midwifery.
you grew up being surrounded by it, and that's always, I would love to see studies of the next generation of the children of midwives, not just the ones that deliver in the hospital, but the midwives that actually have practices and their kids are involved and see it. Because it was a few years ago, but we had a birth center, and the teacher called and she's like, I think you should have some education with your kindergartner. He doesn't quite understand your birth center, because he would introduce, my mom sells babies, because he just saw a lady come in and then the lady would leave with a baby. He didn't quite understand. So it's cute how, like, we absorb them in the family experience, but for you, it changed your entire life.
It changed my entire life, because they come in, I get frightened when some of them scream, but then in my culture, they have to endure level that you rarely hear the one screaming, but you hear the mourning of painful mourning that they go through, and then eventually you hear the cry of the baby, and you hear the laughter of everybody, and they would not let me get in yet. Of course, I will only be the one who my mom would say, okay, there's a lamp there, get the lamp and put it at that area. And then I will put it, and then she said, go and sit over there. But then at the end, and I can't even remember any incident that was traumatic to me, because it was always ending in a good, happy moment. So I grew up and decided, I said, I have to be a nurse and I have to be a midwife. So I fulfilled my passion. Actually, after my midwifery, I delivered baby there. In my country, delivery is in the hands of midwives. And the midwives actually must know how to detect problems. You must know which woman may not end up with a
vaginal delivery.
Vaginal birth. You must know your pelvimetry very well. We were taught to actually do the pelvimetry with our hands and try to get to that, you can get to that promontory, so that you know that this pelvis is adequate. And you will be the one that diagnose adequate pelvis, and the ones that are like, if you have android or maybe some of the male pelvis,
normal shapes.
You must be the one that will assign this patient to the doctor for delivery, because there will be a cephalopelvic disproportion. So it's like, you're not a good midwife if you're not able to detect that. So we had no fears when we handle women. Like I tell them, we always take it to be natural, something that is really not an illness.
It's so cultural driven. I mean, you probably laugh inside your head when you hear colleagues or you hear our culture here about home birth is dangerous. And it's just like, there's just so many people don't realize the cultural biases versus, is this truly a safety issue, or is it just more not mainstream? Those are common discussions.
You're so correct, because when I came in, and I will tell you what made me go in. When I came into United States, I came in as a nurse midwife, but was not, I was only recognized as a nurse because I they asked for my credentials from home, and the CGFNS, graduate of nursing certificate, assessed my certificates and approved me to take board exam as a nurse, but they never approved the midwifery part of it. So it wasn't utilized at all. So as a nurse, I got my my nursing certificate when I came in 1986. Yes, 1986. Yeah, I came in 86 February, and then by 86 October, I think I got my certificate, and then I started working as a registered nurse. So, but while I was working, I had it's like, okay, they did not take my midwifery certificate. Do I really continue with nursing? I almost deviated to do pharmacy, because
Okay.
I went into Rutgers and I said, you know, I am maybe I have to change my course when I'm going into university.
Mhm.
In my country, before I left, they offered me, because what we did was it's like associate here,
Okay.
associate nursing, and
Okay.
then the midwifery. So now they offered me to do my BSN back in my country, and my sister who was here actually convinced me to come over. And she was like, oh, you're going to go through 3 years again over there. You will get your master's here. I thought it was true, actually.
Yeah,
So
yeah. You
it
know,
was
sometimes I
lonely.
think nowadays you can have more
Yes.
accelerated programs than what you could
Yes.
have in the 1980s.
Yeah, I noticed recently, because she was lonely and she convinced me. So I said, okay, I'm
She's
going
a
to
good
come over.
saleswoman. She got her sister to move halfway around the world.
Yes, yes. So I came over. So when I got into Rutgers, I was still doing the anatomy, physiology, and others. It was too far away from me, and I also got married the 87 the year after I came in, and then it was so much traveling to school. And so I continued with my anatomy, physiology, and we were hoping to move over to a different course. Then I said, oh no, I think I love nursing. I must continue to do it. And I have to find my way into midwifery. And I'm glad I did that. So I completed my nursing, got my bachelor's in nursing at Rutgers. Then I discovered there's a program that I will go through to become a midwife.
Mhm.
So I decided to go through that program. So that's how I went back to become a midwife from Rutgers, School of Midwifery, shop. That is, I don't know if you know, yeah, that's part of the Rutgers University.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
as familiar with that area, but yes.
Yeah, okay. So it's the midwifery area department in Rutgers University. So for master's program.
Okay.
So we started with the 1 year nonstop midwifery program, and then you will complete your master. You can get your certificate in between and then complete your master's, which that's what I did. Yeah. So actually what drove me when I went into nursing, I was working as a registered nurse, trying to get that bachelor's. I moved myself to the delivery room area.
How
So
did that go? I'm sure that was a big cultural
that
shock.
was my thought. That was my thing that I made up my mind to actually be a full midwife, to actually save some perineum.
Yeah.
I always say that. I always tell people that, but they don't understand what I mean. It was the time when they were using forgot that
Episiotomies.
insurance that
Okay.
you do more and you get more. So our MDs were kind of like, I will see the head coming out, and there's gonna be a nip with the scissors, because the suturing will be money. This, like I was just assessing.
You're trying to protect the guardian angel of their birth.
Yeah. So I thought about that, and a lot of cesarean sections that I did not think is warranted. I'm like, please, she can make it. It's just to be, oh my God, no patience, no, everything is like, come on, what is the indication?
Rush society, yes.
Yes. What is the indication of this cesarean section? Is like doctor had to go for they had to leave.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's Friday at 5 p.m. Is that a ICD-10 code? Yeah.
It is a reality. Tell you, oh my God, I'm like, no. You know what? I think I'm called for this. I can do something.
You can advocate and you can defend their rights. Yes.
Yes, even if it's few patients, and I did. So when we finished, I became the first midwife that Wayne General Hospital hired because I applied and I finished, and then everybody was like, "Oh, you are working with the nurses at the L&D. Are they gonna take orders from you?" And I said, "Ask the nurses. If they said no, then I will not be there."
Yeah.
And the nurses were like, "What? You're kidding me? We had to call the doctors if she's gonna be here." So, so they hired me. The first midwife that Wayne General Hospital hired to be in-house. So they told me that I will not, the doctors, two of the doctors I'm working with, we are three of us, the two doctors, they're working for the hospital, but the rest of them are private, coming in and delivering. So I became like a resident. We didn't have a resident doctors and all that. So I became like a resident that is a midwife that is in-house. So they gave me my schedule, like you have to come by 8 and leave by 6. That's your schedule. And the doctors have to cover their weekend. Yeah. So what we did, it helped a lot, because when we have induction, I asked them, make sure you have induction the night when I'm coming in, and I'll prepare those patients. I will put the survey there. Then I will leave it. They sleep through it. The next morning when I come, they're active. And by the time I call them, they are in the clinic at our centers, seeing doing antepartum.
Yeah.
By the time I call them, they're like, "She delivered already." Like it worked excellent.
Yeah. You worked your magic,
well.
and they liked that magic you were working. The fingers and the management is that midwifery model they never knew existed. Yep.
I tell you, they think I'm making magic. My hands. Everybody, they say, "Oh your hands are so good with the delivery." That is all about preparation of the woman and helping her go through, and the nervousness also, calming patients down is the key to everything. Once you tell them, if you calm yourself down, your cervix will open, effectively. Your body will relax.
Just supporting them, because as you're figuring out in our US society, it's fear and anxiety and everything tightens and tenses and more pain. I grew up going to baby showers where all you heard was how awful it is. Get your epidural quickly. It's painful. And so that's the culture I grew up on. I just stumbled on midwifery at 16. But if you're it's at a young age that poor women are just ingrained in different path of how to view their body at birth.
I'm telling you, I start by telling them every animal delivered. Do we section them to deliver? I tell them the nature makes a human being, gives us, as long as I tell you your pelvis is good and will get this baby out.
I've got another slogan you can use. I would always say, well, doctors have been around for 100 years, but I think we've been delivering babies for thousands of years. And somehow we have lots of us on the earth right now.
You are so correct. I'm telling you. And I'm like, I said, there's nothing to fear. So what happened that they noticed, and I was happy that I was able to reduce the rate of their cesarean, which they put on their data. At the time, I was the midwife. I was the only midwife hired by the hospital. Then I have the university midwives come in on a Wednesday. So that was why they gave me 10 hours. I go there Monday and Tuesday and Thursday and Friday, and the midwives come from the hospital come in in the middle on Wednesdays. So it's like we have the patients through Monday to Friday. The weekend, we know that our docs don't like to spend the weekend at the hospital, so we save some.
They'll keep their hands off, and they'll be more laid back.
Yes, of them, and then we let them bring them in on the Sunday night for induction or anything, and then it went very effectively like that. It's not like, oh, they need to leave. I'm not gonna wait on this patient until she delivers. So they rush it and they section them there. So I was able to, from the data they gave me, they told me that the time I was there as a midwife for the hospital, I was able to reduce the rate of cesarean section. I was so glad about it. Unfortunately for the hospital, they closed they decided to close because it's a first level hospital. They decided, actually, they did not close the hospital completely, but they decided
The labor and
to
delivery
close,
units.
labor and delivery area.
Yeah, and that's the sad thing that's happening all over the country is the community-based hospitals that, I mean, when you say, okay, we're gonna close all these little ones and now you've got an hour and a half to the nearest, there's a good chance of EMS is gonna do a lot of those deliveries.
That's true. So they marched it to the bigger hospital, St. Joseph Hospital in Patterson. This was in Wayne General, then the St. Joseph was in Patterson. So the Patterson Hospital have midwives too. They have group of midwives. I was happy, at least most of our patients, in fact, we sent them off. They gave us only 3 weeks. 3 weeks notice to we managed to like kind of transfer some of our patients to St. George's, to the hands of midwives mostly too. They have teen pregnancy area too, where they give good care to those women too, the midwives, the group of midwives. But so I was doing a center. I was in the center ambulatory. That Wednesday that I'm off, I do the ambulatory with Newark Community Health Center.
Okay. So you were very busy.
Yes, I was really. I did ambulatory with them because I wanted to get myself used to the ambulatory care of a pregnant woman before I know that when they come into me, I deliver them.
Yeah, you got one piece versus full scope midwifery.
Yes. Yeah, so I was doing a day over there. And incidentally, luckily, I would say for me, when hospital closed our OB, then Newark Community Health Center opened a new center. I mean, one of the hospitals in Irvington in New Jersey closed down, one of the first level hospitals too. And they closed their OB, closed everything. So the feds, HACCP, got NCHC in there. And that was the week after the Wayne General Hospital closed. So they asked me if I want to take a full-time job ambulatory with them. I said, oh yeah, because I'm looking for a job.
Yeah, I was going to say, what coincidental timing, yes.
So I was the one that opened their OB. I became almost in charge of their OB center.
Wow.
At the Alverton General Hospital, which we took over. So they closed completely the in-house. They closed in-house. So we took over at the center. And women, oh my God, all the pregnant women they were seeing then that didn't have anywhere to go. So they ended up with
amazing.
Yeah. But the only thing was that we were not delivering them. So we had a collaborative thing with the hospitals.
Yeah, you did the prenatal care and then the hospital would.
We did prenatal and the hospital would deliver them. So until then, they hired more OB/GYN. They hired doctors and we put in more midwives. So at a point, because this is a multi-site. This particular site I was in was just one out of the 5 sites they have. So the rest of the sites, now we open them for every day because they were doing 2 days OB, 2 days, like they didn't have providers. So they started hiring providers, and then I started recruiting midwives into the organization.
Yeah. Edith, did you always practice in New Jersey, like staying in that area? And so you've been part of this community for so long and seen even just the local community and probably just the effect of what you've done so many years ago and how it's changed the generations.
Yes. I got in, we became 10 midwives in that center. Then how many 4 MDs, 10 midwives, and then they opened up. We had privilege to deliver at 2 of the hospitals. So for the midwife, for us, we went to Beth Israel Hospital in Newark, and then they sent one of the MDs to University Hospital. Yeah, he opted to go there because he'd been from there. So he was the only one delivering over there. All of us were delivering at Beth Israel Hospital.
Okay.
So we continued the delivery until, what year was that? I will say maybe the past 4 years. In the last 4 years or 3 years, they decided that we have to come out completely. The reason is we had a lot of patients who don't have insurance. There were a lot of undocumented in certain sites, especially 2 of our sites, and we had 5 sites of full OB. That the sites, mostly one of them was not yielding them. What happened is that they discovered that we take calls. We go to deliver. You might deliver about maybe 5 patients in the night. They may not have insurance. The hospital have charity care, but our centers don't have charity care.
No,
What we
you
have,
don't get that same. Yeah.
what we are given is just they have to have presumptive eligibility.
Yeah.
And it's a sliding scale to see them. You could see a patient for $20, every time they come, because they don't have that.
Yeah.
Then when they go to the hospital will charge the bed, the food, the delivery. But the providers like us who are delivering are not getting any money in.
No, it's a different, because like in the office, you can choose if they're a patient, but with EMTALA, you have to do everything for care. And so it's a very different culture. And that's why a lot of people don't get prenatal care, but then they'll just come, and then people say, why did they get prenatal? It's like, an office may or may not take them based on if they can pay for it. And so, sometimes we don't think about those financial barriers a lot of people have.
Yeah, and they couldn't see how they were. And we are like under the 330 salary pay, for our OB providers. So they couldn't figure out how they can keep paying providers, and they will be delivering patients free at the hospital. Right. So they decided and had agreement with them. But luckily, those hospitals, that hospital, Beth Israel, University doesn't have midwives, but Israel have midwives. So we made sure most of my patients that come, they have desire for midwives. I usually, after we take care of them prenatally, I would tell them to ask for midwives at the hospital, and they give them midwives. Yes, they give them midwives. So I felt bad when we were coming out. It really, really crushed a lot of people. I lost midwives after that, because some of them, the new ones that came in, say, "Oh, how can we learn to deliver? So we're not gonna be clinical experience." The older ones that had the passion of delivery said, "No, we can't do without doing deliveries." So I lost almost, by this year now, they started leaving gradually. Now I have only 4 midwives. In our group, and 2 of them are part-timers. Only actually 3 midwives. One is just a women health. The women health practitioner. The women health practitioner is she had no choice. We don't need her for delivery, so she's at the ambulatory. She likes it. But the other 3 midwives, two I'm one of them, and because I also take administrative duties in my center, in my organization, I'm the only full-time midwife. The other 2 are part-timers, and they're doing deliveries where they're working. So that's what it is. It crushed our organization, really. I lost, and now they have MDs. most
Yeah.
of the people we have MD,
Yeah.
mostly MDs. Yeah. Seeing
Well,
the
Edith, I think it's so impressive. Like I mean, the history and what you've changed in a culture, and you've adapted so well to all the different changes and advocated in every level. If you still couldn't catch the baby, you pushed to get a midwife in another facility. So I want to
yeah.
thank you, Edith, for contributing so much to Nigeria midwifery and to the U.S. midwifery.
Yes,
Thank you.
it's an honor. I mean, it's my passion, and I enjoyed my journey as a midwife actually very much. I enjoyed it throughout. Now they have me administrative, but then I'm overseeing free mammogram programs for our organization. I also I'm coordinating Well Women Care, which also include like our postpartum care, our mammogram program, our doula. I encourage doula. They asked me, I said, I would need doula. Once you guys took us out from the hospital, I would like us to have doula.
Yeah, you need a
Who will
labor
get
support.
to,
And so you,
yeah,
even though
who
you're
will
not
get
catching
to,
babies anymore, your
yes,
administration responsibility, you're still advocating for women and families' rights. So thank you.
exactly.
Yeah.
So we have doula. We just started doula program 2 years ago with our organization, and then we also have Healthy Start program where they also now doing rounds, because they stopped me rounding postpartum when they pulled us out. I was still rounding postpartum until when was the COVID 2020.
Okay.
2020, I stopped rounding postpartum, and now our Healthy Start group are now doing the rounds, where they have to meet our patients that delivered and give them appointments to come back and bring the babies back, and those to
Oh,
the
that's
continuity
awesome. So
of
it sounds like a
care.
lot of community programs you've created. But
Yes, yes,
Edith,
yes.
I feel like we need to continue because it's been about 30 minutes and I would love to listen to more. May I do a follow-up interview in a couple months and we can continue this amazing conversation?
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate their honor. They have given me SS County Award, and they have given me Match of Dime Award, and they've given me a Heroes Award. I just got the
Good, you
Heroes Award
deserve
last
it.
year.
Yes, I appreciate you. And hopefully this will inspire other midwives to achieve greatness in their area, just like you've done.
Yes, thank you so much. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
that.
Have a wonderful day, Edith.
You too, man.